Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's Tony Howell. I am so excited to be live in Times Square, joined by my dear friend and client, Allison. And just to let you know, Miss Thang just put out her debut album, and it is everything. So today what we're going to do is give you a behind-the-scenes sneak peek. To give you a sense of Catherine, let me just read her bio for you before I invite her on camera. Allison is an award-winning vocalist who just released her debut album, Something Real, and that it is. The New York Music Theater Festival awarded her as the next big Broadway sensation, and that she is. Less than a year after graduating from Ithaca College, she made her Broadway debut as the rather tasty fortune teller in Disney's Aladdin. And in addition to a full 8 shows a week performance schedule, she also has a very full calendar creating, performing, and recording music. Did I mention that she's also a beautiful human, an incredible friend, an avid traveler, and an advocate for plus-size women? Yeah, she's all of that and more. Her passion, integrity, and pursuit of excellence in every single little thing she does is truly sensational and something real. So please join me in welcoming Allison. Woo!
Hello.
Here she is. How are you, dog?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I just got a text. Great. I was like, it's an invoice, but I was like, I hope this is not someone saying, you can't hear you.
Yeah.
So
good.
I will actually pull up our live chat window too, just to make sure that we are accessible to our audience here.
Watching.
Here we go. All right, so if you are watching on YouTube, and you can find that in our link in bio on Instagram, feel free to join the conversation.
Yeah.
So, Catherine, I want to go back.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I am from New Jersey. Specifically, I grew up in Maplewood, and then we moved to South Orange, and now we live in West Orange. So, just in the lovely neighborhood of West Orange right now. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I listened to many an interview with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the most interesting thing that made my jaw drop, you wanted to be a politician.
I did. I did, yeah. I wanted to be either state senator for New Jersey or a congresswoman for New Jersey. And I did a bunch of political camps that they so lovely. My parents are sitting over there. But they so lovely. We're like, yeah, like you could be a politician, you could be the president of the United States if you wanted. So yeah, so I was really passionate about that for a while. I almost actually wanted to be a congressional page, which I don't know if you know what that is.
They serve the
the Congress people. So you actually get paid to do it, and you go to school in the morning, and then you serve with your congressperson all day long. And you go home, you do your homework, and you wake up and do it again.
That's high school, right?
That would be high school, yeah. You do it for 2 years, I think, yeah.
So did you go to, what was the switch to go to musical theater?
It was kind of going into my freshman year of high school. I still was kind of set on being a congressional page, but I started doing musicals and started taking after-school lessons like 3 times a week in theater, and that's kind of where it shifted for me. I was like, I think this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, which I'm very glad that I made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think being a Congress person is everyone needs to know your whole history and your whole life and how that affects your politics. And I feel like that was a little bit too invasive for me personally.
Interesting, because you share
I do
so
share
much
that, but it's not based on...
It's not like a magnifying glass.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And so you grew up, you were part of the Paper Mill Playhouse Conservatory?
Yeah, so I had actually auditioned very early on when I was just starting to get into theater, and I wasn't really ready for the program yet. And then later on, for the Rising Star Awards, I got a scholarship from the Rising Star Awards, and they gave me a scholarship for college, and then they actually gave me a bit of a scholarship to go to the Paper Mill Conservatory that summer, which was so lovely that they did that. They didn't have to do that. And it was one of the best summers. I learned so much. It was a great education just before to go to college, just so I had a little bit of extra knowledge to step into the room with to prepare me. So it was great. So yes, that's how I did it. One summer, and I met so many amazing people that I'm still
connected to today.
Yeah, who are, some of them have just made their Broadway debuts. So
amazing.
Yeah.
So we won't get to your Broadway debut just yet, but you went to Ithaca College.
I did. I studied there for my BFA in musical theater, 4 years. I also studied in London, which was awesome.
As an abroad student.
As an abroad student, yeah. They have an actual school there that they got in the 70s, so that was amazing. I saw so much theater. I learned so much history. It was the best.
Very cool. I'm like hearing this like little whisper. I'm like, I hope that's not anything
that
bothering
we were
us.
doing.
Okay, so then you graduated, but I heard that maybe Jen Waldman inspired something.
Yeah, so Jen Waldman was our showcase director our senior year. So she came in our second semester, and it was amazing. We auditioned all of our material for her, and after that was done, she kind of sat us down in a circle very much as we're sitting here in the lobby of of our school, and she went around to each person and asked us what our 5-year goal was and let us elaborate an answer. And for me, it kind of shocked me because I was like, oh, I want to do an album. I want to do an album in 5 years. Like I wasn't thinking, I knew I wanted to be on Broadway, but I didn't think that was going to be a thing that was going to come so quickly.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I want to do a concert at 50 Below, and I want to do an album in 5 years. And yeah, and everyone was like, yeah, like that's going to be great. I was like, yeah, it'll be great. I don't know if it'll happen, but yeah. So she was kind of the impetus for that because I wasn't really thinking about it, but yeah.
And so did you approach the album at first with as much velocity as Broadway, or was it?
No, not at all. I think it came out of, we will get to that, but I think because Broadway came so quickly, I needed to figure out how to do Broadway well and do it healthfully, and then kind of down the line, the album came back into my vision. I kind of forgot about it actually. Yeah.
So I want to talk to young Catherine and then present Catherine, meaning your colleagues in a moment, but like the young hopefuls. You were very fortunate, but also deservedly given your Broadway debut.
Thank you.
But what do people need to know about that journey, that flip of a switch?
Meaning like the quickness of it, or just in terms of
how to be prepared for and make that happen just as quickly as you did?
I think it's I believe very honestly that everything that I did leading up to that moment was in preparation, and being open and being very observant and knowing to like be quiet and listen in those moments. Like I did summer stock at the New London Bar Playhouse, and then I also did the Muni that summer, which were two ends of the spectrum, but I learned so much in those moments, and being able to be just open and listening and taking in from as much from the people that are around you really prepared me for that moment. So I'm a very observant person.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I think I think it's also one of the foundations of your parents.
I was like, is it from your parents?
I think it is. Just, I'm someone that loves to learn from my elders, and so, especially being in the Muni, so many of those people that were in the cast, they had a bunch of Broadway shows, and I just wanted to soak up as much as I could, and I still do that with people that are in my cast now, because I want to know how they got there. And so I think it's a lot of that, about being observant and taking in, how do I act in rehearsal? How do I take notes correctly? How do I be as much as an assistant in a rehearsal process as I can, and when not to be an assistant? That I think is kind of the key.
Well, I think that's admirable,
Yeah.
and so kudos to you and you. Because I think young people have a reputation for coming in and
Like bursting through the door, like
showing, So to be the opposite is
I'm like, I know nothing. I'm always in that way. I'm like, I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like, what can I achieve in the best way possible, and like, who can I get to help me?
Yeah, that's imposter complex coming in, but we'll get to that. So your interview with Matt Roden, which was beautiful and amazing, and kudos to him as well. He's doing really wonderful work. You kind of spoke about being silent almost for like your first stint. You were just very quiet, like a little wallflower.
Yep.
And then, and that was a choice, just observing?
It was a choice. I think also the company that we're in, I think Casey just does an amazing job of picking wonderful, exuberant people that just give life, not only to the show, but to the surrounding of the theater, which is such a huge kudos to him. And for me, I'm such like, I can get to that, but I need to know, I just need to know people more. And so that was kind of that part. And also because I was one of the first people to join into the company as a replacement, along with 2 other amazing individuals. And so it was a new shift for them as well as for me.
For the
existing company. And so I wanted to be respectful of that space as well. And it was I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, let me just take a moment and like figure out these new group of people that I'm going to be spending my time with. And I was so happy that I did that, because I don't know. It was,
Something that I found interesting hearing your story and seeing it from other friends that are in the cast. You all are very creative.
Yeah.
So who do you think is the catalyst for that sense of we're going to not do status quo, settle into our long run?
I don't know. I feel like even from the beginning, like before we started creating projects together, I would hear people doing, they would do like Saturday cooking. So like one person would cook for like 3 or 4 people, and they'd all do like a taste test and like a review. And it's like, like
is Donald in that mix?
Yes, Donald was there, and I think Ariel and Corey, and so there was always like an inkling. And then I feel like maybe it was Josh De La Cruz, who's now, he's a big star now because of Blue's Clues. But I think he kind of started the rumblings of, why don't we like start making short films and taking class together, and trying to fester a different way of staying in this long running show that we're so privileged to be a part of. So I feel like he was the catalyst. He was starting to learn some new things. Yeah.
Have you counted how many shows you've done recently? I know you've done over 1,000.
I've definitely done over 1,000. I think I might be to like 1,600, 17, because I think I came in at like show 500 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, speaking to colleagues who may be in a epically long-running show in New York, what's your message to them about keeping happy and healthy and finding the gratitude and loving the work?
I think it's, I talked a bit about this with Matt about investing in your life outside, investing in relationships and your friendships outside of work, because when we were discussing, I was like, it feels like 24/7 a day when you're in it.
Because 8 shows a week is not.
Oh, it's not easy.
No,
it's hard, and especially if your body is really hurting, and it can feel like a lot, like you're just soaking in a bath, and then you're getting up and doing the show, and then you're coming back to your house and soaking in a bath. So, but I think finding solace in those people that are really close to you is important. And then also, I'm so lucky to be in a really great work family. And so finding solace in those people too, when it gets hard, I think those are the people that know it the best, you know? So yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
So when was the nymph competition? Was that before or after Aladdin?
That was before Aladdin. So it was kind of crazy because I had graduated, I moved back home, and I did the whole summer, entered the competition. I won in December, and then I got cast like the end of January.
Okay.
So it was literally
boom.
boom, boom. Yeah, less than a month. I like won NYM's Best Next Broadway Sensation, and then I entered into Broadway that month. Next month.
I think the nymph is the fortune teller here.
I mean, right? Wow. Yeah, that was crazy.
So then you did your solo debut, Sirens, Songs, and Muses.
Yes. So I did that in September. I think it was September. So that was right before or actually it was after I won it, I think.
Okay.
And that was music directed by Tucker Murray, and we just kind of, in the original, when I originally was like, okay, I'm gonna come to New York and do a concert, I was gonna do a whole slew of musical theater pieces, and then that kind of changed. I decided that was after. Okay, so NYMS, I won NYM in December.
Doing musical theater.
Yes. Then Broadway happened. Then that following September, I did the 54 Below show.
Got it.
It's there now.
I know, it's like.
It all like blurs
fast.
together. It goes so quickly. And so I did Siren Songs and Muses, and I kind of ditched the musical theater thing. Because I just was like, I want to celebrate Aretha Franklin, and I also had Bernadette Peters in there, and I just like a divas show, really, is what I wanted. All of my favorite divas, so that's what Siren Songs and Muses was. It was so fun, and my whole cast came, and they were so supportive. It was awesome. They had a whole table to the side, and they were screaming. It was really cool. It was really cool.
And most of that's on YouTube, right?
It is, yeah. Most of it's on YouTube.
So what is YouTube for you? You are a popular creator.
I guess.
Yeah. So what does it mean to you to be able to like put your music out there?
For me, it's just it's an awesome platform because anybody can see it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the internet itself is just in a good and a bad way.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, luckily, it's been good. People have enjoyed my work. I think the first video I ever put up was from my voice class in college.
Story.
Yeah, more to the story.
It's great. You should go watch it. I was gonna surprise you and play it. So you're like, we went from here to here. We'll let them watch.
Yeah. And like it's still like my most viewed video today. And yeah, so that kind of started I was like, oh, maybe I should put up more things.
Mm-hmm.
And originally I used it because I needed to submit something to a college, like a vocal piece to a college. So that's why I really started using it. And then I took that stuff down. But yeah, I love YouTube and its medium, and I love the way it's grown. I had like certain YouTubers I would watch religiously growing up.
Mm-hmm.
That taught me a lot. So it's
a new stage.
It's a new stage. Yeah, for sure.
Have you dealt, I'm sure we all have, but let's dive in here. Have you dealt with any negativity from social media?
Not yet.
That's good.
It's been really good. I'm like waiting for the day that happens, but I haven't.
I just got my first hater comment.
You did. You've made it. You've made it. I think like once people start hating, that's like when
you know you're doing something
that's
right.
when you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So.
But you love social media.
I do. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship for sure. But I think the possibilities are endless. I feel like there's there used to be such a distance from like celebrities and the layman person, and the fact that we can get access to things that the only like the 1%.
It's democratized power.
Absolutely. So I think that's so exciting that people can start their own record labels now, and people can produce their own whatever, their own TV show, their own film through the internet and gain access to the internet. I think is amazing. It's broken down so many barriers. Yeah.
So speaking of producing your own stuff, shall we delve into something real?
Sure, why not?
All right, so the idea came graduating Ithaca. Now, give us milestones, what are the different parts of the process?
So, Broadway happened. Then I did my first solo concert. And then I was starting to dabble into writing music a little bit, but I was just really scared. I was like, I need more time to like learn the process of writing music. But
you play too, a little bit? Oh, okay. Oops, sorry.
No, I wish. I mean, I can like plunk out some notes.
Chord progression.
Yes. Yeah, so I was starting to, but I was like getting too scared. But people were kind of telling me, they're like, wow, you do this thing with like taking a song and making it your own really well. And I started taking that feedback and be like, okay, well, maybe this is something that I can turn into. What I was thinking was another concert. And so I started thinking about more material for that. And then I got into a time maybe a year or so ago that I was feeling really down. And I was like, well, maybe I need to go to grad school and like take a step away from New York and Broadway for a second and really go and hone my skills somewhere else and just take some time. And then that turned into maybe I actually need to stay and work some more.
Go through.
Work through that. Which I'm so happy that I did, because I think I would have been, I mean, grad school is still something that I would love to do, but I think during that time it would have been not great for me. And so that's kind of when I was talking to some friends and the album idea came back up. I was like, oh, that, as soon as I felt that like, ooh, this feels very exciting, and that's where that kind of started happening.
So I'm gonna rewind and make this a little bit applicable.
Yeah.
You had the live experience. So in the entrepreneur world, that's like doing the beta test, making sure that like you want to actually do this. So then something was off. You felt that in your spirit, and then somehow a friend sent you this message, and it was like, yeah, that's the path for me.
Yeah.
So to go from an idea to where we are, about to put out the physical product and the release party.
Yeah.
What are just talk about your experience of putting this all together.
So after I decided that was something I wanted to do, I knew I am very much, being an only child, I want to do everything by myself. It's very selfish.
Well, I'm the baby, and I'm the same way. So. Yeah,
I'm just like, I can do everything by myself, and that's just not possible with something on the scale of this large. And I know that I don't have all of the tools and the knowledge to do it the right way and the way that I wanted to do it. So I actually got this like textbook guide on like the music business. So I read.
That was your grad school.
That was my grad school. So I read that cover to cover, and so once I felt comfortable with the music business side, in terms of like contractual and what I needed to know, then I thought I could reach out to people and not feel like I was getting duped out of money or things like that, because that was my biggest fear, especially being a woman in business
and this city as well.
I was like, I do not want to be taken advantage of. And so then I contacted a friend of mine, an acquaintance, I should say, Bill Sherman, and he led me to Dominic. And as soon as I met Dominic, I was like, he's the one. He's so nice, super warm. He knows his worth about his talent, and he knows the business really well. And I've already heard, some of the albums he has produced. And he was like, I only have a month and a half to do this. So we have to do it now or we can schedule it later. And I was like, well, I guess we're doing it. So, so we kind of hit the ground running. I came over his apartment for about twice a week for a month. And then we recorded it over 4 days last March. And
4 days?
4 days, yeah,
wow.
2 days. So
because the studio is super expensive.
It was super expensive. And I gave him, I was like, look, I don't have endless money to spend here. And he totally worked with me on that. So there were certain things like we wanted a big string section. So we just used 2 strings and then we kind of
amplified it,
layered it on top of each other. Same thing with this choral piece that I did in Song of Purple Summer. I had like 6 of my friends come and then we
it's
kind
glorious.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to pause for Catherine who's watching. You did research.
Yep, did research first.
Then you started networking, asking around to try to find the right person.
Yep.
Interviewed, hired.
Yep.
And then sort of allocated budgets and resources and saying, this is our timeline, this is how much we're spending, this is what we're going to make happen.
Yeah.
So it didn't get out of control.
Right. And Dominic was very good about that. He was like, I like to enter into, once we go into the studio space, I want to know that we've decided on everything first and that we know exactly where we're rehearsed and we know what we're doing. And I was like, that's perfect for me because I don't like being willy-nilly involved about anything. There's certain things, we could get to the end of the process and be like, wow, we really need an organ here. We need certain things to, make it spark a little bit more, which I'm totally game for. But, the initial
game plan,
blueprint. I wanted.
Who did the arrangements?
Dominic did.
Okay.
Yeah, he did a majority of them. Excuse me. And there were certain things that I knew that I wanted, and then he kind of, did the fancy work.
He did his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you rehearsed with him?
Yeah, so we made demo tracks. So every time we created an arrangement in full, we made a demo track. So like the first day we came, I have to find it. We did Deja Vu.
You're like,
oh, yeah, because I did not sound great. And I was like, I just hired this amazing producer and I'm coming in my first day and I have no voice. And so we laid down this track and it has this massive crack in it. It's hilarious. I have to find it somewhere and I'll show it to you later. But what he created, I was like, oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Because I had this idea for Deja Vu and he just like amplified it to like the 1,000th degree. And so I was like, okay, this is going to be amazing.
And how did you choose your songs? From the concert originally?
No, they nothing from the concerts or shows that I had done in the past had been on there actually. And it kind of, like Deja Vu, I definitely knew I wanted. I definitely knew that I wanted a Whitney Houston tune. But I was weary about doing any of her really big numbers because I felt like they have been done in every possible way, and I'm not her. So how can I honor her and myself in one number? So I think Why Does It Hurt So Bad? Like, was the perfect combination of that, and it was inspired by a really dear friend of mine. And I knew I wanted one musical theater track, and I love Spring Awakening, and so I was like, let me do an honor to that, to my childhood for that. Mm-hmm. But everything else kind of came out of just in the moment, really. And I was listening to a lot of Ella Fitzgerald at the time, so I knew that I wanted some track of hers.
Anything else in terms of arranging, choosing the order?
The order selections. Once we were done, I knew I kind of said to him I wanted 7 or 8 tracks. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of had finalized like that's the amount I'm gonna do. So whatever was within that kind of changed around. Excuse me.
I'm sorry I don't have water for you.
No, it's totally okay. Repeat the question.
Anything else about arranging, choosing the selections?
Oh.
Because that's 8 songs and it's your debut album, so it's like pressure.
I know. We really did try to have a Spanish tune on the song, because I really wanted to see if I could do a Celia Cruz tune, but she's so iconic, it's hard to take any of her music and either strip it down or make it in a new way. And so we tried several combinations and it just wasn't working out in the way that I wanted to, so that's something I want to do the next time.
And or live concerts.
Or live concerts, yes.
Okay, so we've got it. We're in the studio. We've now gotten to, I believe, mixing and editing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the 4 days. Anything you want to say about the 4 days?
Well, I think what was interesting.
Marathon.
It was a marathon. We split it up over like 2 weeks. So we did 2 days first, and then 2 days in 2 weeks prior. So what I think was interesting about that is the band and I recorded all together. So they were all in each separate room. So the piano's in a separate room, drums and bass together. And
as opposed to layering in post.
Because it would take more time and more money. And because I'm used to working that way in a live performance, he thought it would be the best option. It was really great because we were really vibing with each other the whole time. And in the real live music video, you get to see.
We'll watch that at the end.
Yeah, you'll get to see that, which Angelo Soriano most graciously put that together for me. And it was so fun. I'm so glad we did it that way, because I felt like you can really hear us gelling well together in that. Okay,
so then you lay it all down, pour your heart out.
Yes.
You also then probably get to go do Aladdin at night.
Yeah, I took
some days.
1 day off.
Okay.
1 day off to do it.
I was like, I can just imagine you being like, I recorded an album today.
Woo! Yeah. I took 1 day off, and then the next 2 days were mostly for strings and horns and background vocals, so I didn't really need to take off time. Yeah.
That's super fun. So then he starts mixing, and you get to hear the first cut.
Yeah, so it was mixed by Will Hensley, amazing guy. Which I only met him recently. I only met him through email, but we had so many great email interactions. I was like, this is the sweetest person ever. But yeah, so the mixing, oh my gosh, it's great.
Friend.
But yeah, the mixing and mastering process is so crazy, because that's when you get to be the most specific and really get to choose which sides of the arrangement you really want to bring out and show color to. I feel like it's kind of, besides the singing part, it's kind of mostly where the emotions lie. How do you want to make people feel, which is so cool to me, because you can't really do that in performance. I mean, you could do that with yourself and how everyone's playing, but the fact that you kind of can manipulate how it sounds in people's ears is so exciting to me. And so, for example, in Why Is It Hurt So Bad, I really wanted the strings to be prominent in certain parts of the lyric, so it can highlight the lyric better. And so yeah, that was one of my favorite parts about putting on different headphones and being like, okay, what's it gonna sound like in these like Apple Pods, and what is it gonna sound like in a Beats headphone or in a Bose headphone, so that people can try to get a similar experience no matter what way you're listening to it, because that was important to me, because I was like, most of the people are going to be listening to this on the train. They're not going to be listening to it in like these gorgeous surround sound speakers. So yeah. So
then you're ready to put it out in the world. What's next?
So I was like, I'm going to put it out this fall. That didn't happen. Because I was like, oh wait, I have to design the packaging and make sure that's ready to go, and concert, and there's so many elements, and I wanted, just like I wanted the album to be done right, I wanted the way that it looked to be great too. So I started talking to my friends about it, and my friend Tyler was like, hey, if you want someone to help you with just figuring out how to design the cover and have inspiration for it, I'm more than willing to help you. I was like, I'm going to take you up on that. And so we started talking about different artists that inspire me, and I talked about Grace Jones.
Should I pull up these pictures?
Yeah, we should.
Let's show the behind the scenes.
So you're going to see some of the stuff.
All right, so you're going to talk about Grace Jones.
Yeah, so talked about Grace Jones, and we talked about how I really, just the portraits of Michelle Obama and Barack Obama had just been a huge thing at that point. And so those artists inspired me as well, and we finally landed on Amy Sherrill. I was like, I am obsessed with her work. I think it's so beautiful, and I think the work that she did on Michelle Obama is amazing. And so this painting right here,
on the left
with the mask, it's called Maybe If I Wore a Mask. So this painting is called Maybe If I Wore a Mask, and I loved the fact that it kind of exemplified to me, if I wore a mask, maybe I'd be more adventurous or try more things. And if I didn't have the mask on, I'd be, shy and, a little, it would be hard for me to be real with you. So that kind of became the impetus for the album cover, really, and her work. And I was like, how am I going to do this? And then I told my friend Rachel about it, and she's this amazing makeup artist and body painter. And I had this crazy idea. I was like, what if you painted me like I was in one of her paintings? And she was like, oh, I can totally do that. And she was leaving to go help out with Moulin Rouge in Boston. And she was like, I only have like this week to do it. And I was like, let's do it. And so she arranged the photographer, Jace. And I have a video of that I'm going to put up soon. But yeah, she painted me fully gray and then contoured my skin. I mean, it's
stunning.
It's stunning, the work that she did.
We'll zoom in there.
Yeah, there it is. And so and then Jace took these beautiful photos and she retouched it so that it actually looks like I'm a painting. It's beautiful, beautiful work that she did. And then from there, I handed it off to you, really. I did like some slight mock-ups.
Which are down here. I pulled those.
Right. And kind of this is where Grace Jones kind of came back into play, because I loved the lettering that she had and what she did. And this is how we started off. And
then we did a bunch of different versions.
And then I think I landed on, I was like, I was getting some feedback from people about my full body version, and they were like, it kind of just looks like it could be any person, and I want to know immediately, like, it's you, even though you're gray in this gray scheme. And so we kind of landed on this side.
This version.
Yes, side portfolio. And then we got and now you're seeing the jacket.
Yeah, oops, I debuted it too early. I was like, I don't have the cover.
Okay. But yeah, so this is going to be the album, the physical copy, and we did a harken back to the original silhouette.
Should we debut this CD as well?
Yeah.
And so then here's the disc.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah, super simple. Doesn't need to be intense in any way, I think. I think the cover is the star of the show, for sure.
Amen.
Yeah.
So that is packaging. Tell me about your release day.
So my release day was on February 8th.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. Clearly it was a very popular day, because Ariana Grande was on the same day. What can I say? A lot of competition.
Good choices.
And it was great. It was a crazy day for me, because I was doing a lot of different work that day, not just the album release.
You had rehearsal.
I had rehearsal and a bunch of auditions and a bunch of things. And so it was a long day for me, but it was cool, like, intermittently when I had breaks, to like look at my phone and people would be like, it's so great, and I really love it. And so it was a great day, and I felt like a weight was off my shoulders. I was carrying something for almost a year that very few people had seen. And I was telling my friends before it happened, I was like, oh my God, like nothing is happening. And they're like, you haven't released this thing yet. This thing that you've been holding in for so long. And just wait, like it's gonna be fine. And it's been lovely. I've been very grateful for what people have said. And,
So that's the gift back to you.
Yeah. And the fact that people are really seeing that it's a story and a journey and really taking in from beginning to end, even though the pieces are so diverse and the material is not all over the place, but it's different from track to track. But the fact that they're getting that there is a through line through it is really cool. Because we really worked hard to do that.
Oh, show. So for someone who wants to make an album, what's your advice to them?
My advice is definitely do it. One, if you're thinking about doing it, do it. Take the time to do it well and to do it with someone you trust and has your best interest at heart. And to remember that it's a collaborative space and that the people that you're working with are only there to make you better. It's just such an exciting thing to be around a group of people who are so excited to make this thing for you. I feel like it's a very rare thing in life that, you know, a group of people get together and they're like, we're gonna make this the best thing for you as possible. So that was really great. And to really take that in and really relish, and accept and relish in that. That's what I would say.
So you have some things coming up, though.
Yeah.
You're doing your solo concerts.
Yeah, I'm doing my solo concert at Joe's Pub, which I'm so excited about.
We'll have the link with
we'll
this
have the
video.
Link. Yeah, being produced by my good friend Christopher. And man, it's like a 54 Below. It's like the same thing. Like I remember my first concert that I saw at 54 Below was Beverly Hills. My friend Danny and I went, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to perform here. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but it was in like the first year
that they opened.
And I remember the first time I went to Joe's Pub. I think my mom took me with Lindsay, right? Yeah. And I'm not gonna say who it was because I've worked with them since.
Got it.
So I don't want to be a little stalkerish, but I remember going and seeing them perform and just being wowed by them and the space. And I was like, I want to perform there so badly.
And now you're going to be that person for someone else.
And the renovations are so cute. It looks really beautiful in there.
It's April 8th?
April 7th.
Okay.
My mom's birthday at 7 p.m.
We'll have birthday cake on the table.
Exactly. It's going to be great. And you can buy the physical copy there. And I'm going to have some other merchandise that you can buy as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So very quickly, let's touch on some other things that are Catherine and Allison.
Yeah.
So we talked about Aladdin, we talked about the album. Talk to me about Loveville High.
Loveville High. Oh, I'm so excited about this. So I play, oh my God, why am I? Madison.
Yeah, but what is
So the project is a podcast musical about a group of kids who are in high school at their senior prom. And basically dealing with so many things. Identity, their friendships, graduating college, relationships to graduating and going to college. So it's a slew of things, and I feel like it's just an amazing medium for kids who are not able to come and see Broadway, to be introduced to some of their favorite Broadway stars and also learn about these issues that they might be dealing with and know that they're not alone. So I think it's the creme de la creme.
And if I, for a moment, could just be like a digital strategist, like there's nothing to take away from live theater or live performance.
Oh, absolutely.
But it is accepting this reality that we have these mediums and these new tools to have the art reach more people.
Yeah, and expand.
Yeah.
I kind of explain it like a radio play back in, the early days, just creating a different way to express this music. And I think, for writers in the early stages of a show, the fact that they can put it in this way and not develop in this way.
And grow the audience.
Mm-hmm. So that when, they actually put up a live version of it, people already know the music and they know what they're getting, and then they can see it in person. I think is really exciting.
And your work as an activist.
My gosh. Man, that's like, it's an activist for myself as well as other people.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in a really cool stage of entertainment right now where people are realizing that not everything has to be the same as it was, cookie cutter, and that everybody has a story, and my story is very similar to someone else's. And so seeing musicals like Head Over Heels starring Bonnie Mulligan, oh my God, that was like, I was like crying at the audience, being like, yes, like people are getting it. Like, everybody is sharing in the same experience. And to have that experience reflected on stage and somebody in the audience can be like, wow, I'm seeing myself for the first time is really powerful. And the fact that that is being done more is exciting, and that's really where I am. With that, being a body activist is just one, practicing loving myself every day, but in turn showing other people that they can too. And hopefully, that's imploding into the entertainment industry.
Oh yeah, and you're contributing there. Like that's the thing. So we're gonna wrap up, but this month I have themes now. We have themes for every month.
Yeah.
So this is Black Future Month.
Oh.
And you are the guest of honor, darling. You are Black Future.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with Drew Shade about this. What is the ideal future in Black entertainment?
Man. For me, I think it's just, there's so many things.
There's a lot. It's a loaded question.
Things that I'm thinking about. But I think it's, for me, elevating the good and getting to a point where we're sharing stories that are just relatable to everyone. Human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I think that's where the real change happens, when someone who is different than you is like, oh, I can relate to that on a human level. And that's where people stop becoming scared or intimidated or I'm trying to think of another word. Nervous.
Yeah.
About who we are. So I feel like that for me is the
real thing.
The real thing for me.
So Disney is doing an incredible job of that, paving the way.
Yeah. From the beginning, really too.
Mm-hmm.
We just did a beautiful photo shoot of all the
companies. So stunning, yeah.
And that was such a fun day, getting to see everyone from Frozen and Lion King, and of course our show. Our show took a huge group picture, and once you look at it, you're like, oh my God, look at all of the jobs that they're providing.
Yeah.
And for people of color, it's just, I think, an exciting time. And I remember my parents took me to see Toni Braxton in Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yes, yeah.
So I think Disney has been really good from the beginning, being
of representation,
but not like shouting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just kind of, it's always been there.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for that. I think someone asked me during my first year, like, what is it? How does it feel to be part of a company that has so much color in it? And I was like, honestly, I'm just honored the fact that, one, they chose me, but two, to be in a space with people that are like me is something I never thought would happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really exciting.
Well, the reason I brought it up is just because I want to create change. Like that's why we all make art anyway.
Absolutely.
So I'm just curious to see what we can do together to bring that about.
I think it's I'm starting with my friends to try and cultivate like what are certain things or projects that we can do on the side to cultivate more work. Like I feel like there's something that I'm trying to do with classical theater in terms of Shakespeare and taking that apart and putting people in roles that people wouldn't necessarily think would be in those roles. So that's something that I'm trying to work on the side, maybe. So yeah, that's
amazing.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end by debuting it's already out, but we're gonna show your music video, Real Love. Where can we connect with you?
You can connect with me on Twitter at Catherine D. Allison, or on Instagram at Catherine D. Allison, or my website, catherine-allison.com and catherineallison.me.
Yeah, so I just added the .me because I want to take out the dash and get you to be just singular.
Those are all the
amazing, and I'll make sure that the website's up to date with all of these new things.
Yeah.
Fabulous. Well, take us out. Talk to us about this video.
So this, all of it's a blur, but I think this was day 2 in the studio. We did Real Love, and this is the full version. We have also an acoustic version on the album as well, starring the lovely Justin Goldberg. And so this is just a behind the scenes video really of what it was like in the studio recording the whole album. But this is just a video of the song Real Love by Mary J. Blige.
Thank you for watching. Thank you to Catherine for joining us.
Enjoy. Thank you for having me.
And go to catherineallison.me to buy this album, learn more, and connect with Catherine.
Yeah.
We are lovers, true and through and through. We've made it through the storm. I really want you to realize I really want to put you on. I've been searching for someone to satisfy my every need. Won't you be my inspiration? Be the real love that I need. Real love. I'm searching for a real love. Someone to set my heart free, real love. I'm searching for a real love. When I met you, I just knew that you would take my heart and run. Until you told me how you felt for me. You said I'm not the one. So I slowly came to see all of the things that you were made of. And now my hopes and dreams and inspirations lead me to want some real, real love. I'm searching for a real love. Someone to set my heart free, real love. I'm searching for a real love. I got to have a real love. Love so true. Oh, baby. I thought your love was true. I thought you were the answers to the questions in my mind. But it seems that I was wrong. If I stay strong, maybe I'll find my real love. So I try my best and pray to God he'll send me someone real to caress me and to guide me towards a love my heart can feel. Now I know I can be faithful, I can be your all in all. I'll give you good loving through the summertime, winter, spring, and fall. Real love. I'm searching for a real love. set my